reflecting on the podcast interview with Hitesh Ramatar, and he had some wonderful quotes and insights and wisdom throughout the whole interview, which I really would advise you to go and have a look at or listen on one of the podcast platforms. He went into studying digital masters in business leadership because he wanted to reinvent himself, and he did quite a few different areas in his undergraduate study. But then sort of 10-15 years later, he's got a lot of experience under his belt, and he realizes now that's the time, with a lot of disruption happening in the world of business today. He wants to then go back and sort of formalize the learning that he needs to get ahead in his career and in his organization, where he's able to apply that learnings on a regular basis. So a couple of other thoughts and insights that I got from him: he has a daily meditation time. At the end of the day, he goes for a walk, and then he comes home and he meditates, and he says that is essential for him to calm his mind. And look, I think all of us at some point in the day, we need just that downtime or the me time. Very important point that he raised, or saying rather, was that he believes in the 5 P's. So proper planning prevents poor performance. And I said, well, that sounds very similar to the one I always use, which is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So he's used a lot of planning in his degree, and he makes sure that he doesn't stress unnecessarily, because if he's got a plan and he knows when he needs to do something, then he doesn't stress about it until he gets to the point when it's on the plan and he now needs to do some work about it. So as he talked about all these things that he's doing, I asked him how he balances his work life with his home life and his studies, and he said what actually is quite interesting. He said that he looks to integrate them across rather than to balance them out. So he's quite happy with them sort of blending in quite a bit, and he sees it all as one big set of activities in his life. And he calls himself a people pleaser, but he said that he has learned to say no a little bit more lately. And then just my closing question to him was what advice he would have for students, particularly part-time students. And he said, look, just be vulnerable, have an open mindset, let yourself be led by people that can give you good advice. And you may end up in a slightly different place from where you intended, but perhaps that's a better place than what you would have if you just stuck narrow-mindedly to doing something. So go check out the podcast. Hitesh Ramatar, learned a lot from him, and don't forget, proper planning prevents poor performance.